When you are so broke you can't pick up all the pieces, how do you turn things around and stretch your paycheck to the very last dollar? We've asked a widowed mother of 13 kids. Her answers will blow you away. Never worry about money, she said. Worrying about money will leave you exhausted, tired, and worry, which is a very bad thing at a moment where you need all your energy. Here are the 50 ways, she said, you can control your finances and stop living paycheck to paycheck. These tips, which have been edited and enhanced for clarity and conciseness, will help you stop scrambling to make ends meet or running out of money before the end of the month. Stay tuned. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. I hope you are doing wonderful. I am doing marvelous because today I know I'm going to give you a few tips that will help you save money, that will help you take control of your finances. And this is the goal of this show. We are trying to make people live a better life. We are trying to help people get ahead, through financial control, through career management, through business management, this sort of good things. Of course, we are an infotainment show, right? Infotainment shows, meaning this is about information and entertainment, but today we are more on the information spectrum of things. So we will quickly get into it now. Before we even start, let me give a shout out to our millions of viewers in the United States and Canada, viewers, listeners, and fans in America and overseas. Particularly, we want to give a shout out to Kelvin Hines in Shinston, West Virginia, Ludi Watson in Wayne, West Virginia, Addison Randall, she is in Bayonne, West Virginia. Now, the first advice that this widowed mother of 13 kids give us is cool off. Now, you want to decrease the temperature in your house, right, between 7 to 10 degrees over an 8-hour period each day. And this is very important because this is approximately the same amount of time you spend in bed anyway. So if you can do that, you can save up to 20% of your energy cost, which translate into hundreds of dollars every year. Now, if you are in a position where you are counting every penny, hundreds of dollars or $1,000 a year is a good chunk of change to keep, right? So this is very important. One thing you want to do is that you can sleep, if you sleep in a 66 or 65 or 60 degree room, the thing is that you're not only saving money, you are also losing body fat. If this is if weight loss is another goal that you want to pursue, you are actually increasing your metabolic rate by 10-15%. This is actually a story that came from the Virginia Commonwealth University and Australia's Garvan Institute of Medical Research. That study was conducted a few years ago, where they were showing that you can basically save money but also be in better health by cooling off, especially at night. Again, the advice here is to always decrease the temperature in your house by between 7 and 10 degrees over an 8-hour period, especially when you're sleeping. So from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., right? Advice number 2, always keep a change jar. Now, this is very important, right? Because change jars, if you just drop the change, you drop the coins in that jar, people will be thinking, well, this is nothing. This is peanuts. But guess what? That jar will keep piling up. The cash in the jar will pile up and the jar will get filled up, right? So this is very important because you can save a lot of money just by putting, let's say, 50 cents or a quarter every time. Now, if you do a little math here, quarter after quarter after quarter, those quarters add up, right? If you think about 4 quarters add up to $1, that means that 400 quarters and will add up to $100. And chances are, if you think that over the year, 1 year has 365 days, you are able to basically put in there 50 cents, that could be very easily $200. And that's a lot of money, especially if you are in a situation where you are trying to regain control of your finances. This is a good strategy. So tossing just $1.50 into that jar every day or every other day can definitely make the jar bigger when it comes to your finances. And this is advice number 2. Now let's switch to number 3. Now, when it comes to number 3, you want to skip the eating the cooked food. Skip the takeout foods, right? I mean, meal prep is a time-intensive endeavor, right? But if you get yourself in a position where you cook your own meal, this can save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, depending on where you live, right? And this could ultimately help you stretch your paycheck to the very last dollar and make your life more comfortable and easier in the process, right? Because there was not long ago, a few weeks ago, there was a story in the New York Times that talked about the average amount that every American would spend on food, and it ranged from $10 to $20, and that's per day. And this is just for lunch. I'm not talking about dinner or breakfast if you eat 3 times a day, right? So if you spend $20 on food every day and you work 5 days a week, that's $100 times 4. That's $400 per month just for lunch. So if you're able to skip the eating, prepare the cooked food and take out foods and cook your own food, you're saving very easily $4,800 a year, which is a lot of money, especially if you are trying to save some cash. Number 4, get a programmable thermostat, right? If you want to avoid a chilly house or extremely high utility bills, one of the best things you can use here is programmable thermostat. So if you have programmable thermostat, what they do is they actually, of course, they are expensive they're a little bit expensive from the get-go, but once you have figured out your temperature preferences, right, and you have adjusted accordingly, those thermostats can save you thousands of dollars a year. And again, we are trying to save you money here. We are trying to help you stretch your paycheck to the very last dollar. So we are showing you here investments, one-time investments that will allow you to save thousands of dollars down the road. And this is the goal, right? The goal is to put more money in your pocket. All right. Advice number 5, negotiate your car insurance. Now, car insurance is a very interesting thing because people think, well, I'm locked into this policy. I can't go anywhere. I have to wait for a year. I have to wait for 2 years. No, you can leave at any time. Insurance is, your car insurance is not something with a fixed price, right? Because, the system, an insurance company thinks the same way as a credit card company or a bank. Basically, the policy premium is variable. It's as variable as your credit card rates. So what you want to do is every 3 months or every 6 months, provided that you have a proper driving record, you can call your insurance agent and negotiate and renegotiate a better rate. The bottom line is trying to make sure you keep 2 things clean: your driving records and your credit history. Those 2 things will affect whether or not you are eligible for a better rate. And what you want to do is you constantly want to shop around. Always go online. Use those online those review websites, right? Those aggregators where you just shop around and do price comparison for car insurance. And chances are, as long as you have a good driving record and excellent credit history, you should be eligible for a better insurance rate. All right, we'll be right back right after this. Welcome back, folks, to another section of this Sweaty Kiwi Show. We are talking today about how to save your money. We are giving you 50 ways to stretch a paycheck This is very important, and I've already given you the first five tips. For those who just joined us, those tips were: cool off, keep a change jar, skip the pre-cooked food and takeout foods, get a programmable thermostat, and negotiate your car insurance. Now, number 6, join a rideshare group. Right now, it is very important that you know, if you live in an area of the country with high transportation costs, you can make your commute a little less boring, and you can keep some extra cash also in your pocket, and you can do so by joining a rideshare group. Right now, you know, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, the average American household spends about $2,500 to $3,000 each year on gas. Right, but if you do, just imagine that you carpool like just 2 days or even a day. If you do a day, you can save up to $400. Right, if you carpool, let's say 3 times a day, you are saving $1,200. If you just carpool on a full-time basis, you're saving $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a year. And this is very important, right? This is money in your bank. This is ka-ching. This is extra ka-ching in your bank. So you are in a position to stretch your paycheck to the nearest to the last dollar, and even have some extra change to save. Right. Advice number 6: negotiate your hospital bills. Now, everybody believes that, you know, basically hospital bills are fixed, they're static, they cannot be negotiated. That's not true. According to the government, you know, like the U.S. government believes that, actually there was an article that came out not long ago that said that medical debts is the number 1 cause of personal bankruptcy, and 2/3 of Americans who file for bankruptcy, or 2/3 of those Americans have done so because of medical debts. Now, we have a show currently available. You can check it out. We did a very wonderful show, very, very popular show about medical credit card debts. And please check out that show, because you would understand how difficult things are in the States, but you can also understand how to, you know, pay for medical care in the United States. And we talked about how 2/3 of the 510,000 companies that file for bankruptcy every year in the United States, 2/3 of those, they do so for a reason related to healthcare. So the thing here is that if you have just one major medical event, it can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? I mean, especially if you are uninsured or if you use an out-of-network doctors. So the thing here is that learn to negotiate your hospital bills. You can even, you know, call the hospital, you know, explain your situation to them, ask them if they, if they have some charitable funds or some charities, some philanthropies they work with. They can offer you discount. The thing is that a lot of people don't know about this opportunity. They don't even try because they think they have to pay on time or suffer the consequences. But no. So if you don't have the cash up front, you know, some hospital will even allow you to set up an interest-free payment plan, as long as you can justify your situation by showing your paycheck, your pay stubs, your 1099, your tax returns, you know, some kind of evidentiary information that will allow them to say, okay, this person wants to pay, but they just don't have the means at the moment. Number 8, pay in cash. If you can, pay in cash, because the thing is that when it comes to saving, right, one rule of thumb is that cash is king, right? If you can just ditch the plastic, you know, you can really save a lot of money. People who pay in cash, usually they are more attached to their purchases. But if you pay with a credit card, there is some kind of detachment from the purchase. You know, you're more inclined to buy on impulse, right? Because you don't really see, you don't feel the cash, you don't feel the pain, quote unquote, you don't feel the pain. So it's just better just to drop the card at home and use cash. You know, you have to start having some kind of dedicated cash budget that you have to follow, right? Don't don't take the plastic at home. Don't take the plastic with you. All right, especially I'm always sort of like, it is very funny what people, they go around with the credit card, they spend a lot of money, and then at the end of the month they are very shocked at the high credit card statements, as if somebody else has been using their credit card on their behalf. So pay in cash. Number 9, turn off the TV. Right, you want to turn off the TV and you want to read more books. This is very important. Now, keeping the TV off will save you a lot of money in terms of utility, right? Electricity and that kind of stuff, right? But the thing with the TV is that we are bombarded by dozens, if not hundreds, of commercials every single day. And chances are you might think that this sort of commercials don't affect you, but listen, those ad companies are very sophisticated. They use a lot of tools to know the things that will appeal to you. So basically you have things like, and nowadays you have things like artificial intelligence that go even further by studying, things like the brain, how the brain acts, the impulses, the stimuli, this sort of very, convoluted processes that ultimately give the advertiser an edge on you, the consumer. So by removing the TV, you could probably have like 1 or 2 days where you don't watch TV. You will save a lot of money because you're not really you're not exposed with those temptations on a 24/7 pattern. And read some book. This is good for your intellect. This is good for your culture, for your philosophy, for your culture, for your well-being, this kind of stuff. And the good thing is you are also saving money, right? Number 10, recycle in the family. This is very important. Clothes from siblings and distant family members. You can get clothes from, you don't have to buy clothes from your children, all the time. If you have if you have a newborn, chances, and that newborn is lucky enough to have, older sisters and brothers, use the tools, use the clothes that you've used before. And, and the good thing is you can put an honor system on it so that children are very comfortable to say, oh, my brother my brother wore this and I'm wearing it, it's so cool. Just make it playful, make it fun. Because the last thing you want is to sort of dismiss the value of the clothing by saying, oh, this is old clothing, your brother wore it 10 years ago. This is not very interesting for the kid. But if you make it in a playful way, you make it interesting, the kid will be very proud to wear it. So things like toys, clothes, furniture, it's just better to reuse them, to recycle them in the family, rather than just going to the Salvation Army, right? Because at least if you have old furniture, at least the person who used it before you, right? I have nothing against Salvation Army. I'm just saying that if you want to recycle used stuff, if you want to buy used stuff, maybe sometimes it's a lot better to buy them from someone rather than going to a store to buy it from a charity store where you have no idea who used the items before you. All right, we'll be right back right after this. Welcome back, folks. We are still continuing our conversations here about how to save money, how to stretch your paycheck to the very, very last dollar. Now, we are going to rule number 11. Before I do that, let me quickly give a shout out to Thomas McClure in Hortonville, Wisconsin. Marex Juarez, he is in Norton, Wisconsin. And Jimena Odom, she is in Kaukauna, Wisconsin. We love you. Thank you so much for your support, and we want to thank our viewers and listeners and fans, millions of viewers and fans in the United States and Canada. We want to thank our viewers in Australia and the UK. We appreciate it. If you love this sort of show, if you love the content that we've been giving you so far, if you love saving money, please consider subscribing to our channel right now hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you are informed in real time whenever we release new content. Also, like the content, share, comment below, give us your tips and tricks, your tactics to save money, your tactics to be able to stretch your paycheck to the very last dollar. We want to hear from you. And also, when you get a chance, please watch our ads. Watch the ads that are served during the show. We need resources to expand our production team. We are very proud to provide free content, free high quality content, but we need more resources to expand the team, to conduct investigations, reports, that kind of stuff. So please watch our ads. Rule number 11, grow a garden. Now, if you grow a garden, you can eat healthier, right? You can enjoy more delicious food. You can actually, know what you're growing. You can really sort of diversify your diets. Now, this is very important. Now, seed packets often cost less than $1, depending where you live, right? They cost less than $1, but they can yield hundreds of dollars worth of organic produce every year. This is a huge ROI. We're talking thousands of percent, right? So this is very important. You could start with, very little things like tomatoes, carrots, cucumbers, peas, things that are not very difficult to grow, and see how you like them, and try your hand on varying recipes. So this will save you a lot of money. This will also limit the amount of gas you're using. In addition to that, you're also eating healthier, right? Because not only you know what you're eating, you also know that you are eating healthier, right? So, grow a garden. Again, it doesn't have to be a big garden, right? It could be something very small, but the idea is to get into the habit of, eating like a home cooked meal. And I'm just talking about a home cooked meal all the way. So from purchasing to the cooking, to the origin of the nutrients of the food. All right. Number 12, bring a water bottle with you. So if you want to save money, make sure that you bring a water bottle with you everywhere you go. So basically, by having a water bottle with you, you'll be less tempted to buy soda or to buy bottled water, right? So the thing here is that you are able to save money on soda. I mean, if you think about it, the average price of soda, that's what, 50 cents or $1, depending where you live. $1 a day, you multiply by 365, that's $365. And people who drink sodas, they don't drink only one, they probably drink 2 or 3. So that's easily $1,000. So you really want to get into a habit of, and in addition to that, drinking water is healthy. It helps you stay in good shape and not put on a lot of weight. So I see a triple benefits there. It helps you stay hydrated. Helps you stay stay lean. In addition, it saves you money. So this is a triple benefits. Rule number 13, clean the filters in your car. Now, if you're not mechanically inclined like me, you might want to ask a friend to do it for you, but most people are mechanically inclined. So cleaning the filters on your car can really do a lot more than keep your car, your air clean, right? The good thing is that it can also extend the useful life of your car. So, the thing that happens here is that, if your filters are increasingly clogged, they limit the amount of air getting to your engine. And this is very bad. Over time, this can mean that you are getting fewer miles per gallon of miles, meaning you're spending more on fuel actually. But you are getting less performance from it. So you are getting less bang for your buck. Less bang for your buck means that you are wasting a lot of money. So try to always make sure that you clean out your air filters every 10 or 15,000 miles, and you want to replace them from time to time so that you can save significant, humongous cash on gas All right, especially if you're trying to save cash, save money. Just cleaning the filters in your car will help you do that. Number 14, invest in a slow cooker. Now, again, going back to what I told you earlier about buying a programmable thermostat, right? We have the same situation here. If you invest in a slow cooker, this could be a little bit of a significant upfront investment, but a slow cooker can save you big money in the long run. Why? Because slow cooker make it easy to throw in a batch of ingredients and liquid and just return home after work to a fully cooked meal. This is just fantastic, and the reason why it's very popular is because it's just perfect for things like curries, stews, soups, this kind of stuff. And they make it easy to clear out those leftovers ingredients in your fridge that would have otherwise gone to waste, right? So you not only you're cutting down on the time you spend cooking, right, but you also cutting down on wasted food. But this is very important, right? Time is money, and we're trying to save you cash here. So invest in a slow cooker, and the thing is, you can even buy it either on credit card if you want, so you can repay it over time, or you can just wait for a discount, like when they have those sales in the sales season, either around the holidays or Cyber Monday or special sales. Just buy it at that moment so you have a slow cooker, right? Another thing that is very important is rule number 15. You want to stick to the parameter of the grocery store that you want. In other words, if you have a shopping list, just try to go to those specific areas where you are interested in. Don't walk the whole aisles. Don't walk multiple aisles. Chances are, if you are going to a grocery store, you're probably familiar with that store, so you know where things are. If you don't know, ask a store clerk, and he or she will tell you where to find things. But the last thing you want is spending time on extra stuff, looking things around, seeing what's there. So if you can just do that, you will avoid the temptation of junk food, right? Because junk food, as we all know, can be a burden on both your body and your wallet, right? So the important thing is that if you have a list of 10 items that you have to buy, when you get to the grocery store, just stick to that area, to the area where you can find those 10 items, and as soon as you're done buying them, get out of the store. Just get out of the store. Just go pay and get out of the store. So it kind of requires some minimal discipline here, right? In terms of sticking to what you want to buy and just buying it and just leave the store. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back, folks. We are still here going through our list of 50 ways to stretch your paycheck to the very last dollar. Now, for those who just joined us, we just want to give you the context in which we are doing this show. Now, think about this. When you are so broke, you can't pick up all the pieces. How do you turn things around and stretch your paycheck to the very last dollar? We've asked a widowed mother of 13 kids. Her answers will blow you away. Never worry about money, she said. Worrying about money will leave you exhausted, tired, and weary, which is very bad at a moment when you need all your energy. Here are the 50 ways she said you can take control of your finances and stop living paycheck to paycheck. These tips, which have been edited and enhanced for clarity and conciseness, will help you stop scrambling to make ends meet or running out of money before the end of the month. Now, I've spoken already about the top 15 rules. Now let's talk about number 16. Switch to CFLs, right? You can save money, you can save a lot of money and energy in one fell swoop, right? You can save a lot of money here by investing in CFLs. So instead of buying the regular bulbs, the regular incandescent bulbs, instead of buying the regular bulbs, you can invest in CFLs, right? Because the thing is that, of course, There is an initial upfront cost of purchasing a slightly costlier CFL, right? But you can save upwards of $50 or $100 per bulb. Now, if you have, let's say you have 15 or 10 fixtures and lamps in your homes, that's very easy. That's 500 easily saved, right? Just by swapping up your bulbs. And this is the kind of investment you make up front, which costs a little bit of money up front, but again, you save down the road. And the bottom line here is to save money consistently and, most importantly, continually. Now, rule number 17, shop for holidays a year early. Now, we all know how holiday season is a big investment for some people and a big cash outflow, a big source of cash outflow for other people, right? So if you want to, if you're gearing up for the holidays, you have to spend a lot of time, a lot of cash, a lot of energy, a lot of resources, and you get tired. There is a very simple way to save money, right? Especially you save money on those little expenses that unfortunately add up if you don't pay attention, right? Things like ornaments, things like wrapping paper, things like decorations, those things add up. So what you want to do here is that you want to buy a year early, right? Because what happens is that those ornaments, decorations, wrapping papers that you buy, if you buy them right after Christmas, so the day after Christmas, December 26, 27, usually a lot of merchants want to get rid of the season's items. They will probably slash the price to 20% or 30% or even 50%. So this is the time you need to buy it, right? Because those ornaments that were costing, say, $20 or $30, they probably will be on sale for $10 or even $5. So as soon as the holidays are through, this is where you want to shop for the next year. And by doing that, you're saving humongous amounts of cash. And this is where you want to be, right? Rule number 17. Oh no, rule number 18. 18. You want to use streaming services, right? Forget about the cable TV. I have nothing against cable TV, but why pay $50, $50 or $60 where you can just enjoy Netflix or other streaming services for $15 or $20, right? Because the bottom line here is that we have shifted from an era of buying things in bulk to buying customized entertainment. So it's rather better to go with the Pandora and Spotify and Netflix than trying to buy albums in bulk and trying to buy having a cable TV contract where you have 200 channels and you barely watch 5, right? So you want to save cash on that end. Now, number 19, download a price comparison app. Now, this is very important, right? Now, I know a lot of people think that they can recognize the price of familiar items and know if one item is more expensive than others, but you are a human and you're not perfect. So one way to stretch your paycheck to the very last dollar is to use a price comparison app. So this allows you to, so when you hit the supermarket, anytime you go to the supermarket, you can actually compare in real time prices. And this means more ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching into your bank account because you are saving. Instead of, if you have to buy, say you have to buy a bottle of wine at $12 and you see that, on the price comparison app like ScanLife or ShopAdvisor, there are many of them. I don't want to endorse anyone here, any app here, but there are many of them. There are thousands of them, literally thousands of price comparison apps. And let's say you want to buy a bottle of wine and the store is showing $12 and you can see that in the store nearby it's costing $8 based on what you see in the app. It's a very quick decision, right? So by using this app, you would consistently cut down on your expenses over time. Now, rule number 20, ask your neighbors for their junk mail. This is very important too, because you want to accumulate the number of coupons that you have, right? Most people will throw away their junk mail, and even worse, they will put on it's not worse actually, because I do the same thing too. They just have on their mailbox, they have no ads please, that kind of stuff, so nobody will drop ads into their mail, right? But the thing is, if you are trying to save money, if you are trying to stretch your paycheck to the very last dollar, you are going to use coupons. So the thing is that by using your own coupons and collecting coupons from the neighbors' mailboxes, you can double manufacturer coupons for the things you buy on a regular basis, right? And this will save you tons of cash, right? So on your next shopping trip, you can save tons and tons and tons of cash. All right, I will be right back right after this. Welcome back, folks. We are still here. We are still enjoying this conversation around saving money, conversation around budgeting, conversation around making sure that we have enough money in our pockets to go to so we don't have to scramble from month to month and always being broke. Yes, we don't want to be broke. I don't want you to be broke. I want you to have money. I want to have money too, by the way. All right, before we continue, I want to give a fan shout out. Shout out to Dalton Wheeler in Worland, Wyoming, Cameron Gay in Whitebird, Wyoming, and Linda Reyes in Wyoming. So Dalton Wheeler, Cameron Gay, and Linda Reyes, all in the beautiful state of Wyoming. We love you. Thank you so much for your support. We really, really appreciate it. Now, next, rule number 21: learn to sue. Right, this is very important, because especially if you have a lot of kids, or you have a lot of relatives, a lot of siblings, learning to sue will help you a lot. Saving on money on things like not only clothing, but also if you have, let's say you have a missing button or a dropped ham, you don't have to go to seamstress to change that, because those things cost money. Like you can easily pay like $5 for a missing button or a dropped ham, this sort of stuff. This kind of stuff costs money. So learning to sew, and you can do so at a local shop, or you can even do it online by watching a YouTube video, and basically using your grandmother sewing machine. That kind of stuff can really add up in terms of saving. Number 22, switch banks. Now, this is very important. If you want to, spare some cash and accumulate some cash here, remember what I gave, the advice I gave you for negotiating your car insurance bill. It's the same thing you have to do with the bank. So every now and then, what you want to do is you want to, basically switch in banks. You want to negotiate better deals. If you switch banks, what's going to happen is that some banks have something called bonus, new customer bonus. Sometimes it's $100, it's $50. It's, they also help you. They waive checking account fees, that kind of stuff. And they do this, all the time. So I would say have a strategy whereby you switch banks 3 or 4 times a year. So you are basically saving on checking account fees. Like I said, you are getting money, real money, customer bonus, new customer bonus, real money in your bank account, and you're getting better deals. By doing that, you're constantly, pitching all banks in your area against each other. And the good thing is that in some states, in some cities, you even have community banks and credit unions who would also give you tons of benefits if you just become a new customer. So switch banks to save money in the short term and in the long run. And by doing this, by using this strategy, it's just you save a lot of cash, because the thing is, you can go back to the same bank after 1 year if you just focus on 4 banks in your area and you switch banks every 3 months, like you go with, let's say you are with Citi, you have Wells Fargo, you have Bank of America and JP Morgan, right? So from January to March you are with Citi, and then from April to June you switch to Wells Fargo. From July to September you were with JP Morgan, and from October to December you go to where was I? Citi, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, and Bank of America. So from October to December you go to Bank of America. So you go back to Citi in January. So once a year you go back to the same bank. So it works perfectly, because by doing this you can collect the bonuses as long as you want. Number 23, sell clothes that don't fit. Now, it's very important. If you have clothing that don't fit anymore, right? Why do you keep them? Are you hoping to get back in shape and lose weight so that the clothes fit? I mean, chances are you might get back in shape. I'm not saying you're out of shape, but you might actually lose weight at some point. But the bottom line here is that when you lose weight, and if you do, you could still buy new clothes, right? So for now, the clothes that don't fit, the clothes that you've used for many years, sell them. Instead of donate, you can remember you have the option to also donate them, right? But if you are in a situation where you're counting all your pennies, you really want to sell the clothes. And there are a lot of apps out there that allow you to sell your clothes. There are even websites that allow you to sell your clothes. I'm not going to go into details by naming names here, but if you Google the item online, you see a lot of websites that pay you, and sometimes they even take care of the delivery. So they will come pick up the item, and all you have to do, you only have to drop it at a certain drop-off location, or just drop the item through the U.S. Postal Service, and those websites, they take care of everything, and they just give you your money. All right. Rule number 24: buy generic. So try to really stop the loyalty to branding, especially if you're trying to save money, right? I mean, for instance, you have things like the established brands. I mean, brands cost money. Branded products cost money, because the company behind the brand has spent a lot of money on advertising, and those advertising costs are being passed to the consumer. And this makes sense. I mean, those companies are in business to make money. It makes sense. It makes total sense. Now, if your goal is to save money, if your goal is to hang on to every dollar that you are able to make, you want to buy generic. And the advice here applies to everything from medication to soda to regular food to anything. You want to get rid of the brand mentality, because you are trying to save money. Rule number 25: stay away from temptation aisles. Now, everybody knows that when you go to a supermarket, there are some aisles that are very tempting, and they are meant to be tempting. Things like soda, chocolate, candy, what else? Yeah, things like tabloid magazines. Those things are very, very difficult to resist, and again, they are meant to be difficult to resist. So the thing is that you want to steer clear of those temptation aisles whenever you go to this grocery. Now, if you are at the checkout counter, don't even watch those items at the checkout counter, because again, the placement of those items has been thoroughly calculated, has been thoroughly studied to entice you, to encourage you, to prompt an impulse purchase. And you want to get away, you want to steer clear of those departments, of those locations, of those aisles at a grocery store. We will be right back right after this. Welcome back, folks. We are still continuing our list, our rundown of the 50 ways you can stretch your paycheck and you can save some cash. You can make more money. You can live a better life. If you just joined the show and you're trying to understand what we're talking about, we're trying to save people money. We're trying to save viewers and listeners money. Now, check this out. When you are so broke, you can't pick up all the pieces. How do you turn things around and stretch your paycheck to the very last dollar? Now, we've asked a widowed mother of 13 kids. Her answers will blow you away, and I'm sure they have been blowing you away already. Now, never worry about money, she said. Worrying about money will leave you exhausted, tired, and weary, which is very bad at a moment when you need all your energy. Here are the 50 ways she said you can take control of your finances and stop living paycheck to paycheck. These tips, which have been edited and enhanced for clarity and conciseness, will help you stop scrambling to make ends meet or running out of money before the end of the month. Now, we've talked about, I've given you 25 tips so far. Now, let's talk about rule number 26. Change your own oil. Now, you have to understand, right? Changing oil is not something very complicated. But the thing is that, manufacturers tell you to change oil every 3,000 miles or every 3,500 miles. And usually it costs around 30 to 40 bucks, depending on where you live. In some areas in New Jersey, for instance, I know it costs $25. In New York, in Manhattan or in Brooklyn and Queens, you have very reputable mechanics that will do the job for 20 bucks. But the thing is, if you do it yourself, think about, for instance, if you drive, say, 30 miles, sorry, not 30 miles, you drive 30,000 miles or 15,000 miles a year, and you have to change your oil, every 3,000. That means you have to change oils, 5 times during the year. That's 125 bucks. If you drive 30,000 miles, that's 250 or 300 or 400, right? So you can potentially save hundreds of dollars every year if you DIY your own oil change, right? And you don't have to have a PhD in mechanics to do that. You can go on YouTube. There are hundreds of tutorials, very quickly DIY how-to videos that show you how to get it done. Now, number 27, start saving now. This is very important, folks. You want to start saving now. No matter how low your salary is, no matter how bad things are for you, you can still save $1 or $2. If you have a savings jar, chances are you have some extra cash to spare. And the thing is, you want to start now because you want to get into a routine of saving money, right? This is very important. You want to get into that mental habit of thinking about saving money. Pay yourself first. Invest in yourself first. So start saving now, please. I don't care if it's $1 or 50 cents or 1 cent. Do it every day and do it automatically. Have a savings account. So you go to the bank where you are, have a savings account so that automatically every day or every 2 days or every week, do an automatic transfer. So money goes from your savings account money goes into your checking account, into your savings account. And you can even set, again, I don't care if it's a small amount. I'm only interested in the frequency and the automation of the process more than the amount that you are saving. And gradually you would see that things will start happening and you will save a lot of money and you will have a good rainy day emergency fund, right? For instance, if you save, let's say you're saving $5 a month, $5 a week, that's nearly $250 or $300 a month, a year. Or if you're saving $1 a day, that's $365 a year. Those things, even though they might sound a little, they do add up. Rule number 28. buy foods from local producers. Now, food is a big budget item for most Americans, right? Americans spend around 30% of their income on food and groceries and related purchases, according to several surveys. Now, you want to buy foods from local producers, right? Because you want to cut down on logistical costs, distribution costs, all the costs that supermarkets and retail stores pass on to you. And in addition to that, you can even have a better traceability of the food. You know who produced it, you know the conditions whereby the food was produced. You can cultivate a better relationship with the local producers. All of those things can lead to discounts and rebates in the future on future purchases. So this is just a win-win for everybody, right? So you want to get into the habit where you buy foods from those producers. You want to exercise often. This is Rule 29. Rule 29, exercise often. Right here, I'm not asking you to start running marathons here. I'm not asking you to try to be like the superwoman or Superman here. No, mild exercise, right? At a minimum. So you want to walk instead of taking a car. You want to jog very, very mildly. You want to try to get in shape. You want to try to move your body and move your mind, because by moving the body, there is some kind of extraordinary activity happening in your brain. I'm not here to tell you that exercise is good for your brain. Countless gazillion studies have shown it, right? So exercise often. Number 30, rule number 30, unplug your chargers. This is very important now. Even when your phone is not charging, your charger is sucking up energy. A lot of people don't know that, but this is very true. So your charger is sucking up energy, which means you are wasting a lot of money all the time. I know people who constantly, they have their chargers plugged 24/7, 365 days a year. Imagine the amount of money they are paying on unused energy. So unplug and turn all appliances off before you leave the house for the day. And actually, there have been reports by the consulting firm McKinsey that says that you can save up to 25% on your energy bills every year. They've actually studied this sort of trends with companies that have factories, companies that have a huge operational presence in the oil and gas industry. For example, they've saved up to 25% on energy bills. So unplug your chargers if you're not home, or if you're going on vacation. Just just put everything down, unplug everything. I will be right back right after this. Welcome back, folks. We are still talking about ways to stretch your paycheck to the very last dollar. I hope you are enjoying the show so far. If you are, please consider liking the show, share the content if you know someone who can benefit from this kind of content. Comment below, give us your tips, tricks, and advice on how to save money, how to live on one paycheck, how to just budget and live a better life. And also please consider subscribing to our channel if you believe that we are adding value to your life. We are producing wonderful content. We certainly appreciate that. I want to give a shout out to our millions of fans and listeners and viewers in North America and elsewhere. Particularly today, we want to give a shout out to Henri Galland. He is in Fort McMurray in Canada. This is in the province of Alberta. So Henri Galland. We also have Cassandra Barrett in Camrose, that is in Alberta, Canada. And we have a third person. His name is Daniel Veilleux, and that's my French is still, I'm still working on the French here. Daniel Veilleux, he lives in Bruce in Alberta, Canada. So thank you so much, Henri and Daniel and Cassandra, for your support, your feedback. We really appreciate it. We actually bless and send you a lot of hugs to you and your families. Now, rule number 31, sign up for rewards programs, right? So this is very important because when you're trying to save money, you want to accumulate as many rewards as possible, right? So businesses like CVS, Rite Aid, Walmart, Petco, Office Depot, and so on and so forth, they run rewards programs all the time. And some rewards program can offer you up to 10% back on purchases. 10%, folks. It's a lot of money, especially if you're trying to save money. And there was a time where in some states, CVS was offering up to 15%. Walmart was doing the same thing, up to 15%. Back on purchases. So please just sign up for as many rewards programs as possible so you can rack up those benefits. Number 32, you want to turn off the lights. So you want to hit the lights. So if you keep your lights off, you can save a lot of money in the long run, right? Think about it. If you just run just one little light bulb for 24 hours, you can pay as much as $25 or 24, $25. So it's actually $1 per hour. Now think about how many bulbs you have in your house, and think about those bulbs being on. The light is on all the time. So say if you have, say, 5 bulbs in your house or in your apartment, that's $5 per hour times 24, you are at $120. I'm not even counting times 30 for the monthly bill. So you want to turn them off all the time. This is very important. This will lower your utility bills, and you can have enough cash to save. We talked about saving, and to pay down debts. Now, sign up for a rewards credit card. Now, this is very important. Earlier, I talked to you about to sign up for a rewards program at your grocery store or your pharmacy. Now, I want you to sign up for a rewards credit card. Now, if you are eligible for a credit card with rewards points, I would say, please do it. The thing is that, of course, there is a temptation that comes with this, right? You are tempted to overspend. But if you are in the mindset of saving money, then you are already better, right? But the good thing is that you could rack up frequent flyer miles, which can really, really, seriously help you offset the cost of a vacation, right? Especially imagine if you're trying to stretch your paycheck to the last dollar. You don't want to spend money on vacation and trips and that kind of stuff, right? So the best thing to do is that if you have that credit card with rewards points, charge everything on them, and then rack up the points afterwards. Number 34, do not shop hungry. Never shop hungry, which is very interesting. This was an advice that I have received from my grandmother several years ago, and now we have it here also. It is very important. I mean, this is something that most people know. You probably have noticed that when you are hungry, you tend to overshop, right? When a person is hungry, he or she will overshop by any means because it's a biological, it's a physiological element. You're trying to take care of the hunger. You are trying to quieten the hunger, right? So you just tend to overspend. So anytime you have to shop, make sure that your belly is full. Make sure that you are able to tame your ghrelin, which is the hormone, the hunger hormone, right? So you don't want your ghrelin to start messing you around and make you buy stuff, or and eat all the crappy food, or buy those cookies, and just to sort of quiet the ghrelin down. All right, so never shop hungry. Number 35, rule number 35, sign up for a prescription refill service. Right, so the thing is, the last thing you want is always spend lunch hours or dinner time being after work. You have to wait at the pharmacy for your prescription to be ready. You have to sit down for 30 minutes to 1 hour. Just sign up for a prescription refill service by mail. So what happens is that when it's time for your prescription refill, you'll just get the medication at home. Right, so you don't have to waste money driving to and from the pharmacy. You can basically, and you don't have to commute if you have to, because all of those things cost money. So your goal here is to save as much as possible, right, and enjoy the benefits of those savings in the long run. Okay, we will be right back right after this. Welcome back, folks. We are still here and enjoying the conversation, talking about how to save you money, how to make changes in your personal lifestyle, so you can have more ka-ching in your bank, and make sure that all the items that you buy, you can get more bang for your buck. Now let's go to rule number 36. Now, for those who just joined us and wants to know what we're talking about here, we are talking about how to stretch your paycheck to the very last dollar, and we have 50 ways that you can do so. And we've gotten that advice from a widowed mother of 13 kids, someone who really knows how to save money, someone who really knows how to stretch a paycheck, someone who knows how to live on a single paycheck. And this is just extraordinary. Some of the advice that we received here, the pieces of advice when we were conducting the interview, it was just very mind-blowing for us to hear those things, those things actually work. Now, rule number 36, never go to bed angry. The whole thing about never go to bed hungry, and never go to bed mad. Why? Because metabolically, being angry, stress, and all those things are very bad for you. So they have a deleterious effect on your physiology, on your body, on your hormones, but they also have a very bad effect on your psychology. So never go to bed angry. That will help you save a lot of money on healthcare costs, because as we heard before, in this country, 2/3 of people who filed for bankruptcy did so for a reason associated with medical costs, medical expenses. So you don't want to worsen things by going to bed angry, right? So save your anger, be comfortable, enjoy yourself, have fun, do all the things you can do to make sure that you are in a good mood. That's the bottom line here. That is the bottom line here. So I also want to make sure that there are other consequences for going to bed angry, but we're not getting back into that here. But the thing is, you want to save, you want to sort out the problem, the source of the issue before going to bed. If you are in a relationship, the last thing you want is to fight and argue over an item, over a situation, and both partners go to bed angry. It's just very bad and very deleterious for the relationship. And if you have children, God forbid, this is also bad for every individual involved in the family here. So don't go to bed angry. Number 37, bring coffee from home, right? So we all know that coffee is just a killer especially if you go to those branded, I'm not naming names here, but those branded coffee shops that charge like $3 per $3 or $2 per cup, right? You really don't want to do that. You don't want to give your cash to a coffee shop that's already rich, right? So takeout coffees have an average price of $3 or $4. So the bottom line here is that if you bring coffee from home, you can save a lot of cash. Imagine saving $4 per day. $4 per day, that's $20 a week just on coffee. And that's if you are drinking, just a cup. And a lot of people I know don't drink just a cup. They drink 2, 3, 4 cups a day, right? So if we go with 1 cup, that's $20 a week, and that's easy $1,000 a year, which is a lot of money. So start getting to the habit of, opt for a coffee that you brew in the comfort of your own home instead of heading to your local coffee shop, right? Now, put your financial goals on paper. This is a big one. This is a very interesting one because, a lot of people think, we live in the era of digital, that, everything is digital, everything is on phone. We want to check our phone 24 hours a day. We don't want to write anymore. But when it comes to goals in general and financial goals in particular, science has proven that if you write things down, if you write things on paper, if you use the pen and use your hand and use your fingers to write something down, the probability of commitment and the probability of achievement is higher. There was a study not long ago coming out of Harvard University that sort of studied the power of handwriting upon the psychology of people. So what you want to do is you want to have a vision board. You can have a vision board. You can have a piece of paper. It doesn't really matter. You can have a diary. It doesn't matter. But write down your financial goals on things like, your expenses, the kind of money, your savings, how much you want to save in 3 months, in 6 months. Write those things down and see them every day. You want to stick them somewhere you can see them every day. It could be on the fridge in the kitchen. It could be, in your bedroom. It could be in the bathroom, somewhere where you can see them every single day. You want these things to talk to you. You want the paper to look at you and say, listen, are you going to just satisfy me? Are you going to do it? Are you not? You want to see this every day, right? So this is very important. Write your goals on a piece of paper and stick them somewhere where you can see them. Rule number 39. This is very important. This is very, very important. It's give yourself a 30-day purchase period. Give yourself a 30-day waiting period. Let's say, for instance, you are, this is a biggie because it allows you to break the cycle. It allows you to stem the cycle of impulse purchasing. Let's say you found something very interesting, a dress or, a pair of shoes or anything, and you want to buy it. Give yourself an embargo of 30 days or 15 days. For that matter, doesn't really matter. Let's just say 15 days or 21 days. What you want to do is you want to see if after 30 days or 15 days after the embargo period, whether or not you will still have the same appeal, the same interest in that item. If you do, then I would say go ahead and buy it. But chances are, in the meantime, your interest or your mind would have shifted to something else. So the interest that item, that piece of clothing had on you 21 days earlier might have disappeared, right? And you would have found yourself being comfortable, not even buying the item. So do this from time to time. You would see that you will be able to control your emotions, because all purchases are emotional. People don't like to hear that, but it is true. If you want to sell something to someone, you want to work on the emotions. Why would they buy it? Why should they buy it? If you can answer the question from an emotional perspective, you would have done 80% or 90% of the work. Rule number 30. 30? No, rule number 40. Rule number 40. I just saved so much money with this show already. I'm just like, do a meatless Sunday and Wednesday. What's the deal here? Now, if you want to have a fatter wallet, right? If you want to have more ka-ching in your bank account, if you want to stretch your paycheck to the very last buck, start buying more veggies. This is good not just for your body, right, but also for your wallet. Do a meatless Sunday and Wednesday. So have 2 days in the week where you don't eat anything, right? Not anything, where you don't eat any meat, any animal products. Obviously, animal products are more expensive than veggies in most parts of the city here, in most corners of the city, right? So by just ditching the meats, the chicken from some nice tomatoes and some nice, like veggies in general, you can save a lot of money. You can save, depending on your family situation, depending on where you live in the country, you can save hundreds of dollars every year. So this will really help you to, and again, it doesn't have to be 2 days. It could be 1 day. You can start with 1 day and then move to 2 and maybe 3 and maybe 4. The bottom line is you have to start somewhere to reach the result you want. I will be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. All right. Welcome back, folks. I'm very happy to have you here. I'm very happy to know that you are still around. I want to, if you just join us, those who just join us, please remember the context that we are in today. We are talking about money, how to save money, how to live, how to stop living from paycheck to paycheck. And think about it. When you are so broke, you can't pick up all the pieces. How do you turn things around and stretch your paycheck to the very last dollar? We've asked this very question a widowed mother of 13 kids, and her answers will blow you away. Never worry about money, she said. Worrying about money will leave you exhausted, tired, and worried, which is very bad at a moment when you need all your energy. Here are the 50 ways, she said, you can take control of your finances and stop living paycheck to paycheck. These tips, which have been edited and enhanced for clarity and conciseness, will help you stop scrambling to make ends meet or running out of money before the end of the month. Stay tuned. Now, stay tuned for the rule 41. Rule number 41. Before I talked about rule number 41, let me quickly give a shout out to Noah Brooks in Manitoba. This is Canada here. We have Frankie Moore, Manitoba, Canada, and Georgia Barry, Manitoba, Canada. Thank you, Noah Brooks, Frankie Moore, and Georgia Barry. We love you. We love your families, giving you a lot of hugs. Thank you so much. We also love our millions of viewers and fans and listeners in the United States, Canada, the UK, Germany, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Nigeria, Lithuania, Brazil, Angola, Tanzania, all over the world. We love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. Rule number 41. Now, when you go to a store to buy clothes, grab the guy, teen, or child versions of things. Now, study has shown that basically, children's items cost less than adults, right? If you are lucky enough to be in good shape, or to be slim, or to have, if you have a short stature. I'm not sure if this has been lucky or not, but basically, depending on your situation, if your physique is closer to the physique of a teenager or a child, I would say don't worry about reputation, buy child stuff and teenage stuff, right? Because the bottom line, especially if you buy those underwear, who would see it? Except your partner, right? Doesn't really matter. So buy the things that could cost you. Some studies even show that you can save up to 57% if you just switch the version or the aisle where you're buying your clothes, right? So those t-shirts, if you just try it. Just give it a shot. So grab the guy, teen, or child versions. I think it's a lot easier for women to buy a guy version of things than the opposite, right? So just check it out. Number 42. Learn to stick to a shopping list. When you have a shopping list, stick to it. If you remember earlier, I gave you an advice. I gave you a piece of advice over when you go to over the fact that if you go to a grocery store, you want to remain in the aisle where you find the things that are on your shopping list. Here, I'm trying to tell you, instead of geography in the grocery store, I'm talking to you about the content on that piece of paper called shopping list. You want to stick to the very items that are on that list. If you have 12 items, you are coming home with 12 items. If you have 15 items, you are coming home with 15 items. If you have 20 items, you're coming home with 20 items. If you have 5 items, you are coming home with, well, you guessed it, 5 items. The thing here is to train your brain to get into some element of mental discipline. You want to have some discipline here, some commitment, some resilience, some persistence in the face of temptation. And this is very important. This is how you will be able to stretch your paycheck to the very last dollar. Rule number, where were we? Number 43. Number 43, you want to bring your lunch to work. This is key. If you remember earlier, one of the first pieces of advice in this show was to buy dish the pre-cooked meal, right? So even when you're home, you can just eat a home cooked meal. Now, for work, I'm just telling you, I'm recommending that you bring your own lunch to work, right? Because everybody knows that, of course, if you brown bagging stuff, it isn't exactly glamorous, right? But who cares? It's not about appearance. It's about what goes down in your stomach. So the bottom line here is that you want to be able to enjoy a lot of money in your bank account. So by bringing your own lunch to work, you can save tons of cash, especially considering that the average American spend $20 or between $20 and $30 just for lunch. And in some places it's even more expensive. You can go all the way to $40. Of course, it depends on what kind of food you like, but if we go with the average price of $20, that's really already $100 a week. And per year, that's easily $5,000. So we want to get away from just giving a lot of cash to the cafeteria or to the company cafeteria or to the restaurant nearby. Number 44. Write down your monthly expenses. This is another biggie. Now, if you remember earlier, I spoke to you about putting down your financial goals on paper. Now, this piece of advice, number 44, is just an extension of that earlier, tip that I gave you early. The thing here is that here we are focusing only on expenses, not on the financial goal. You want to write down everything that you pay every month. Again, the power of the written statement, the power of the written item it's very high. So you don't want to do this in Excel or in a budgeting software whatever it is, but you want to write it down. It should be very easy. Chances are, if you are counting your dollars, if you are stretching your paycheck to the very last dollar, you don't have a lot of cash, so your expenses are limited. You don't buy 300 items every day or every month, right? So write them down. Start with everything from rent to insurance to healthcare to food, to entertainment, to movies. Write them down, to credit cards, to student loans, and the list goes on. Write them down and analyze them. See where your money goes. See where you spend a lot of cash, or if not all your cash or most of your cash. By doing these things, this will sort of open open your eyes as to what you have to do to save money. Number 45, rule number 45. Create a spending challenge. Right, so here, the thing here is that a spending challenge means, for instance, you can say, okay, I spend normally $1,000 in general every month on everything. Okay, and you can say, listen, let's try to spend 90% of that amount in the next month. So 90% will be $900. So instead of spending 1,000, let's try to aim for 900. And again, you have to make it in a game fashion. It has to be a game. It shouldn't add pressure. It shouldn't add any kind of stress. It should be fun. And the thing is, after 30 days, just compare and contrast the current months versus the last month. And if you reach your goal, reward yourself. Get a piece of chocolate or ice cream or whatever. Something very something that is appealing to you, so that your brain, you have the reward brain, that the reward part of the brain that gets activated anytime you have to you have this sort of a challenge. Your body and your brain will be ready for it. I will be right back right after this. Welcome back, folks, to another part of this show. We are talking about how to save money here. I'm very glad that you are still around. You're still chatting with us, having a conversation. I appreciate all your comments in the comment section, all your responses, your tips, anything you can add to enhance the conversation here. We'll really appreciate it. I want to go back very quickly now to rule number 46. Rule number 46, seek 30-day trial periods on anything you want to do, right? You want to watch a movie, you want to buy a store, you want to buy clothes at a store, you want to enroll in a new phone service, you want to buy a new software, so on and so forth. Seek the 30-day trial periods. Of course, they'll ask you to input your credit card info or debit card information, right? Doesn't matter. Just go ahead and do it, right? But just give yourself a reminder to cancel it, not before 30 days. Cancel it before after 25 days. So don't cancel it after 30 days. Do it after 25 days. Don't wait until the last day. You might forget. So this is how they get you. This is how companies get you, right? So they give you the lure. This is the sort of bring you in with a 30-day trial period, and they know after that, they're just working on the percentage. So if you bring in 1,000 consumers, maybe 1 or 2% will stay afterwards, right? So that's the captivation that you have with the 30-day trial period. So everything you want to do, start first with the 30-day trial period, and you can, as long as you have a lot of credit cards or debit cards, you can actually try as many times as possible, right? Actually, you don't even need a lot of credit cards. All you need to have is a different email address, because that's how they track you. So email address, so you can create as many emails as possible to use to get the 30-day free trial. Rule number 47, get free entertainment, right? So for instance, that they have a lot of movie theaters around the country have free nights, right? So look for those. You can also get you can organize family movie nights, so you don't have to go anywhere. You can just stay home and just enjoy your favorite movie with your family. You can go to the local library to check out what they have. You have the local museum, they have stuff. So there are a lot of opportunities for free entertainment. You just have to do some research and be comfortable, with the kind of entertainment you want. Make sure your partner and the other family members are okay with it. But the thing is, entertainment is kind of very expensive, right? You have books that cost $15. You have a movie rental that costs $5 or $10. You go to the movie theater, In some places it can be $15 or pounds or euros or the thing here is that you want to be able to save money. So trying to come up with another way where you get entertained. And the funny thing is, people always think about going out of the house to get entertained. What about staying home and using a free website such as YouTube? I mean, on YouTube you can get anything you want, right? You can even get movies. So of course, maybe not recent movies, but who cares anyway? The idea is to be entertained, right? Number 48. Find other ways to get social. Again, this harks back to what I said earlier about finding free entertainment. Now, in this case, I'm asking you to find free social activities, free socialization. You don't have to always meet your friends and colleagues at a bar. You don't have to do that. You can meet at each other's homes, and you can do so alternatively, right? Rotationally. So really, it's not, if you have a free movie or game night, think about how to do it without going to a bar or restaurant and spend money on, alcohol, snacks, that kind of stuff. You can do a little get together where everybody brings their own stuff, right? So, and the good thing about this is that there are no expectations for who to pay for all the entertainment, right? Everybody knows that they're bringing their own stuff and they are eating their own stuff. And on top of that, you run no risk of somebody not liking the food or the drink because they would have brought their own stuff. In other words, what they like. Rule number 49, and this is a big one. This is awesome. This is a biggie, folks. Use coupons to the extreme. This is very important, right? Whatever you do, make sure that you take those coupons. Earlier, I was telling you to collect your neighbor's junk mail, right? You want to use coupons all the time. You want to become Mr. Coupon or Mrs. Coupon. You want to be called like that. You want to use coupons to the extreme. Now, besides physical coupons, you have websites that allow you to even have coupons all year long. You have coupon.com, Coupon Cactus, Hip to Save, the Crazy Coupon Lady, Money Saving Mom, and the list goes on. But the bottom line is, yes, you can also Google coupon sites for specific stores you need to frequent, like Walmart, CVS, Target, right? Because by doing that, you can save tons of cash. The bottom line here is to save tons of cash. Rule number 50. Drink tap water. I know that a lot of people think that tap water is contaminated. It's not. If you live in the United States, in the majority of areas, municipalities pay a lot of attention to the safety of water, of tap water. And think about the fact that bottled water costs up to 3,000 times. Let me just rephrase. Bottled water costs up to 3,000 times as much as tap water, right? And water is something you have to drink, which means that you are very likely not to, you cannot cut down on water costs unless you're drinking tap water. You can't say, well, I'm only buying 3 bottles per week. I'm only buying 1 bottle per week. No, because you need to drink water. You need to breathe air, right? So basically, it's like saying, listen, I'm not going to breathe. I'm only breathing for 1 hour every day. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't work that way. So, you can try to save money on that. Now, if you have money, you can also invest in a tap water filter, right? Or a filtered pitcher or a filtered water bottle to save money over time. But again, this is those things that will cost you cash in the short run. And we, going back to the programmable thermostat, is the same thing, right? The upfront, the cost upfront may be expensive, but down the road you are saving tons of cash. I will be right back right after this. Welcome back, folks. We are at the near the end of this conversations. I'm very glad that you are staying so far with us. I want to give a quick shout out to Jalen White in Lancaster in the UK Frank Smith in Lancaster in the UK, and Asia Salinas in Lancaster in the United Kingdom. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you. We want to give a shout out to our millions of fans in the UK, especially in the city of Lancaster. Thank you so much for your support. We had a conversation around stretching the paycheck to the nearest dollar, to the latest dollar, and basically I'm going to quickly give you a recap here by listing, for those who just joined, those who started with us and then maybe didn't follow through all the way, and for those who follow the whole thing, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. I'm going to quickly give a run up here, a recap here. So what happens is that we were trying to find ways to save our listeners money, and we ask ourselves a question: when you were so broke you can't pick up all the pieces, how do you turn things around and stretch your paycheck to the very last dollar? So we've asked a widowed mother of 13 kids. Her answers have blown us away, and I'm sure they have also blown you away. Never worry about money, she said. Worrying about money will leave you exhausted, tired, and weary, which is very bad at a moment when you need all your energy. Now, here are the 50 ways she said you can take control of your finances and stop living paycheck to paycheck. These tips, which have been edited and enhanced for clarity and conciseness, will help you stop scrambling to make ends meet or running out of money before the end of the month. Now, here are the 10 tips very quickly. I'm just gonna read them. Cool off. Keep a change jar. Skip the eating or the takeout foods. Get a programmable thermostat. Negotiate your car insurance. Join a rideshare group. Negotiate your hospital bills. Always pay in cash. Turn off the TV. Recycle in the family. Grow a garden. Bring a water bottle with you. Clean the filters in your car. Invest in a slow cooker. Shop the perimeter of grocery store. Switch to CFLS. Shop for holidays a year early. Use streaming services. Download a price comparison app. Ask your neighbors for their junk mail. Learn to sew. Switch banks. Sell clothes that don't fit. Right? Buy generic. Steer clear of temptation aisles. Change your own oil. Start saving now. Buy foods from local producers, right? Local farmers, that kind of stuff. Exercise often. Unplug your chargers. Sign up for rewards program. Turn off the lights. Sign up for rewards credit card. Don't shop hungry. Sign up for prescription refill services by mail so you save time on trips. Don't go to bed angry. Bring coffee from home. Put your financial goals on paper. This is a big one. Give yourself a 30-day purchase period. Do a meatless Monday and Wednesday, or Sunday and Wednesday. It doesn't really matter as long as you are able to do a meatless day. Grab the guide, teen, or child versions when you buy clothing and that kind of stuff. Stick to a shopping list. Bring your lunch to work. Write down your monthly expenses. Create a spending challenge and stick to it, right? Of course, that's the goal. Seek 30-day trial periods. Get free entertainment. Find other ways to get social. Use coupons to the extreme and drink tap water. Here you have it, folks. Those are the 50 ways to stretch your paycheck to the nearest dollar. Now let's quickly talk about calls to action here. What is today's call to action? We all know the popular quotes that says information is power, and some people say that even a child knows. This saying may be powerful, but nobody understands that nowadays it has become a cliche, right? For me, information is certainly power, but action is omnipotence. Action is all powerfulness, supremacy. So doing things is what moves the world. Doing things is why you are currently where you are. And doing things will be the number one reason why you will reach the destination you want to reach. Act today and start moving your life in the right direction. To get you started, here are 5 things I recommend you do. Pay attention to cash flow and spend less than you earn. This is very important. Don't overspend. Don't live beyond your means. And calculate your net worth. Put together a list of your assets and investment accounts, savings, real estate, and deduct your liabilities. That means your debts. Set financial goals. Invest wisely and protect your family. This is it, folks. I really appreciate it that you have been around with us throughout the conversation. And I totally forgot. I have a pro tip for you that you will really love about the subject of savings and budgeting. But I will tell you right after this. Don't go away. All right, here's today's pro tip. Plan your meals. Meal planning is one of the best ways to cut food costs now and in the future. Write down every meal you need to eat this week and come up with the affordable options for each meal. Meals that use whole chicken, pasta, beans, and rice are among the cheapest. Try to pick meals that will have leftovers and use the least number of ingredients. Shoot for 10 ingredients or less for the week. If you are stuck, check Pinterest, check all other social media, including YouTube, for budget-friendly meal plans. You'll find plenty of options. And also use an app to track progress in your diet and in your financial plan. Thank you, and stay marvelous.